Okay. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. I greet you, my beloved brothers and sisters, in the greeting words of peace. We say it in the ancient tongue of Arabic. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom, shalom. Ja, Rastafari. Greetings, dear beloved brothers and sisters. This is your brother, Leo Muhammad. And in the house with me this evening is none other than our beloved sister,
Claudia Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, family, and welcome to another edition of Imagination. What have we got up for today?
Oh, today our title is The Silly Season. The Silly Season. For those of you who are in other parts of the world and maybe the word silly doesn't really kind of chime or ring a bell, it means foolishness, it means madness, it means chaos, it means a period of time when people just seem to kind of lose their minds and they get somewhat silly. So we have entitled this evening The Silly Season, and we're just going to touch on a few things, and it probably will go on and extend over the next few weeks because we really are into the silly season, dear family. And as we go along, hopefully you will get more of an idea about what we're talking about.
Don't you think you've got a few people saying, how dare you? I love this season. I love Thanksgiving. I love Black Friday. I love Cyber Monday. I love Christmas.
Yeah, that's right. and the thing is, I mean, you know, I must admit, I used to feel guilty back in the day when we would, you know, do the Christmas breakdowns and go through all of these, the actual facts of this time period and what it all means or whatever. But I really don't now, because in truth, you know, even though we put kind of like a very light-hearted title on it, I mean, the reality of the detrimental effects that it has on people, and, you know, when it comes to spending money that we don't have and stuff like that, it's serious business, beloved. So I really don't make any apology for dealing with the subject matter because, you know, in truth, we have to stop being ignorant, beloved, as a people. We really must.
We must tell the truth. When we know the truth, we must teach it.
Yeah. Also, do me a favor, family. Let us know in the chat if the sound is good. My microphone's a little bit far away from me tonight, and you know, myself and Sister Claudia, we have to kind of project a little bit to make sure that you're picking us up right. So let us know if there's any problems with the sound. We pray that Allah will bless us this evening to have a successful show. And as always, I would encourage you to call a friend, a family member, a loved one. Tell them, man, tune in, man. The Imagination show has started. It comes to you each and every Thursday, starting at 6:30, going through to around 8 o'clock. Sometimes we go to about 8:30, but generally around the 8 o'clock mark is when we aim to finish our show. And as always, dear family, I feel very honored, very blessed, very privileged to have an opportunity to come to you wherever you may be viewing us or listening to this evening. And even if it is a case where you're listening to this after the fact, you know, I'm very, very grateful to have this opportunity. And I hope that something that we say in these shows is of benefit to those of you who take the time out of your busy schedule to tune in and to be a part of the Imagination show. Once again, my name is Brother Leo Muhammad, and with me is Sister Claudia Muhammad. Go ahead, sister.
Yes, our family are saying that the sound is A1.
Oh, fantastic. A1 sound. That's good. I like the sound of that. So, dear brothers and sisters, welcome to episode 57 of the Image and Nation show. Welcome to the silly season. That's what we are talking about this evening. This time period in which we live, it comes around each and every year, and we have to address it because it is a reality that confronts our people, and we can't pretend for 1 minute that, you know, we don't know something about this time period, and whatever we know of truth about it, we have to share it with you. So Black Friday is the term now used for the Friday after Thanksgiving in the United States. It traditionally marks the start of the Christmas shopping season in the United States. Many stores offer highly promoted sales at discounted prices and often open early, sometimes as early as midnight, okay, or even on Thanksgiving Day itself. Some stores' sales continue to Monday, or as Sister Claudia said a minute ago, they've named it Cyber Monday, or for a week, which they've now got Cyber Week.
Oh,
they're not satisfied with just a Monday. They've got to extend it now.
It will be a month soon.
Absolutely. Yeah, like Black History Month. It would be Cyber Month, where you can spend money that you don't have for a whole month. And this is occurring on the fourth Friday in November, unless November the 1st is a Friday, in which case it's the 5th Friday of November. Black Friday has routinely been the busiest shopping day of the year in the United States since 2005. And now the trend has caught on here in the United Kingdom and other parts of the world. This is Black Friday, dear family, where people, people are saving up money. Saving up money for those sales?
No, they haven't got any money. They haven't got the money.
People haven't got money, but thinking about that, how many of us appreciate just how many people today actually live on credit?
That's right.
Actually live on credit. People have got these credit cards and whatever, and it seems like the credit card companies make it easier and easier nowadays for people to get that
available.
And they aim at young people as well, isn't it?
No, you have to be over 18.
Okay.
Well, in this country, I don't know about.
Yeah, but they're young, man.
Yes.
But these credit cards, dear family, and how many people keep up with the payments on their credit cards? How many people, are able to pay back what they are using on credit, you see, and believe me, the interest rates are so astronomical, and the way in which they basically capitalize on people who default and can't pay. I mean, it's a real racket, and unfortunately, dear family, many people today are being crippled by debt.
That's right.
And we're taught in the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad that debt is slavery. Debt is slavery. And I've given some thought to this, thinking about how, for instance, so many of us who have a stake within the system, a job, or we've got a house, we've got the mortgage, we've got, certain things that we are credited up to our eyeballs. Did you know that it's easy to make slaves of a people who are in that condition where you literally feel that you can't even speak out, you can't tell the truth or anything like that, because you're so invested in a debt type of way to the system that you're scared to death that you could potentially lose. I mean, just last week we were talking about our brother Kanye West, Ye, and how they were able to strip the brother of $2 billion. I mean, think about what they can do to somebody with, just the salary, just the small amount of money that people work for every week just to try and make ends meet. Man, it's heavy. And I understand why a lot of people try to keep themselves quiet and keep their heads down and don't want to get involved in certain things, because they feel they're invested. They feel that they can be cut off, or they can be injured or hurt by the system. And this is another way of saying slave, their family,
Well, I thought it went quite deep when the Honourable Minister Lewis Farrakhan said at the end of that addressing our brothers, do not make money your God. And when you really think about it, that is the main reason why we are still slaves today, because of the money.
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
Absolutely. And think about it, just think about how such a major role that money plays.
That's right.
Especially when it comes to our leadership,
Yes.
the leaders in Africa, the leaders in the Caribbean. What is it that they use as strings?
That's right. Oh, I'll give you this amount. If you do this, I'll give you X amount of finance. Money has become
money
of this world.
And what do they say? They say that money makes this world go around. So, dear family, the day after Thanksgiving has been regarded as the beginning of the United States Christmas shopping season since 1952. The practice may be linked with the idea of Santa Claus parade. Here comes Santa, here comes Satan. There's a link. And, again, this is the start of this shopping season, what I call the silly season, and it's all linked together. Parades celebrating Thanksgiving often include an appearance by Santa at the end of the parade, with the idea that Santa has arrived, or Santa is just around the corner, because Christmas is always the next major Christian holiday following Thanksgiving. Dear family, I hope you are all good, and I hope you're following along. And I know that for many of you, you will know this already anyway, in terms of the history and what it all means. But again, I think it's important that we do share, because we can't afford to take anything for granted today. We can't afford to think that our people know the actual facts and the reality. These images coming up on the screen, this is what you see for Thanksgiving, the turkey and the big meal and everything. And, again, do you know, dear family, that during our 400 years sojourn, being destroyed as a human reality in that triangular slave trade, they like to call it, while we were being enslaved as a people, do you know that we were kept half starved most of the time? Do you know that during that time period, there was really no such thing as a fat black woman or a fat black man? Do you know that we were kept so starved that most of us were just bones, skin and bones? That's the reality. But do you know what happened after we were so-called set free? Do you know that, for instance, in the Caribbean, one of the things that happened when we could basically eat more and get more food and whatever, and, when I say food, I'm literally saying food in quotation marks, because it's not even food, but when we could eat a load of stuff, basically, we then began to get fat. And do you know that in the Black psyche, in the Black psychology, in particular in the Caribbean, and I think in certain parts of North America, to be fat meant that you were living well. Oh, yeah. It meant that you're rich, you're doing well, and people would literally compliment you. The fatter, the rounder, the more rosy your cheeks were. And in truth, if the opposite, if they saw you slim or skinny, they thought that you were ill, something wrong with you.
You're suffering.
So everything has been kind of reversed. Did you know, dear family, that the older you get is the slimmer you should be, and the more healthier you are if you are actually slim? If you can actually see, when you raise your arm up in the air, if you can actually see these ribs here underneath in your chest area, if you can see those, that you should be able to see those. You should be able to see your cheekbones. You should be able to see your shape as opposed to your natural shape, as opposed to fat, basically just overpowering your body and making you to be round. But as I said, it became fashionable that that's what people would say. Oh, you're doing well, man. You're healthy. You're fit because you're fat. And this is how they've literally reversed the psyche on us. And I say all of that just to say, dear family, when we see all of the food laid out on the table and whatever, I think it's very, very attractive to the vast majority of Black people.
It is.
And this is why we have to point this out to you, to say, yes, food is necessary. Yes, food is good. But dear beloved family, we must control our intake of food. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, for those of you who remember when we did the How to Eat to Live series, he taught us, and he says that food keeps us here and food takes us away. And so we must, brothers and sisters, learn how to control what we put into our mouth, because it's literally a matter of life or death in terms of how we eat.
No, I was just thinking, when some people eat and they literally pass out once they're finished, they're just stuffed.
Yeah, man.
It's a horrible
Can't do
feeling.
anything.
Yeah, you can't. They just sit down on the sofa.
Have you ever eaten so much that you literally can't move? That you feel like you might explode or something like that?
Horrible feeling.
But you'd be surprised how many people feel the necessity to eat like that.
To stuff themselves.
Wow. Today, Thursday, the 24th of November, 2022. This is today, dear family, and it is actually Thanksgiving Day in the United States of America. But what or who is it all about? Where did it begin as a celebration? And even more importantly, as a question, why? Why is this Thanksgiving Day? What does it really mean? In the US schools, United States of American schools, children are taught that Thanksgiving celebrates a 1621 harvest feast hosted by the Pilgrims. Lovely word, Pilgrims. But I always think how clever the enemy is, calling himself a pilgrim. We'll go a little bit deeper into that in a minute. But harvest feast hosted by the Pilgrims, who were in fact the English colonists who arrived on the Mayflower being that ship, okay, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Mayflower. These are all ships that sailed from England and brought settlers, brought colonizers into the Americas. And along with their guests, listen to the way they term it, along with their guests, a Native American tribe. So they're trying to make out that this was just, some pilgrims and a few Native Americans who got together. The typical curriculum frames, this is what they teach in school. The typical curriculum frames the story as one of the pilgrims struggling to grow food and the natives lending them a helping hand on the fields. And while there is evidence that some of those vague details did happen, there was some collaboration like that, a lot of details of the story are left out of this sweet little story that is given to the children according to the American school curriculum. This is, again, I think it's important, dear family, to appreciate that it is the same people who enslaved us, destroyed us as a human reality, who we fought, bled, and in some cases died to get into their schools. Okay, we wanted to get into their schools to receive that good education as we perceived it to be. And so, again, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan asked the question, if a man won't treat you right, what makes you think that same man would teach you right? See, why? Why would we expect to put our children into these schools and for them to be able to come out of these schools with real knowledge, wisdom, and understanding? The image on the screen, dear family, this image depicts a visit by people to the 1627 Pilgrim village at Plymouth. You heard Malcolm X talking about Plymouth Rock, okay, where they landed, where these so-called pilgrims landed. Plymouth, the Plymouth Plantation. There's a plantation where role players portray pilgrims 7 years after the arrival of the Mayflower ship in Plymouth, which is the soft, cozy history most white Americans like to tell themselves and celebrate with a nice family meal once a year called Thanksgiving. This is, the type of imagery. These are the types of stories that are told. And, the vast majority of us really, when this is being done year in and year out, you can be forgiven for losing sight of the reality, because people say, oh, it's Thanksgiving. And I think the vast majority of Americans, I don't care what color you are, Black people right now in North America, excited over Thanksgiving, beloved, and really see it as part of their staple diet, for consumption, for their minds and their bodies and their hearts,
Or do you think they get excited for the family, being with family, gathering around?
That's the only, in my humble opinion, beautiful aspect of it. Family coming together. We're encouraged by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan during this silly season that if we're going to do anything, just get together as a family then. Be a family.
Because that is a wonderful thing when families get together,
Absolutely.
meet together.
Absolutely, beloved. But according to an article written by Sophie Hirsch on November the 22nd, 2021 was when she wrote this article, Thanksgiving glorifies the abhorrent colonization of indigenous peoples. She goes on to say, from Columbus Day, they've got a Columbus Day, to Independence Day, to Thanksgiving, the US pretty much specializes in taking dates that celebrate genocide and discrimination and repackaging them as family-friendly holidays. Wow. See, as Sister Claudia said a moment ago, it's wonderful. Nothing wrong with coming together with your family, beloved. But just know that you're coming together with your family because you want to have that familiarity, which is where you get the word family from. Familiarity, you want to familiarize yourself with your family. You want to be a family. You want to be together, but don't make the mistake of putting Thanksgiving over it as if Thanksgiving somehow is what gives legitimacy to your family coming together. Thanksgiving, even listen to the language, Thanksgiving, you see, because again, there's nothing wrong with Thanksgiving. No. But who are they thanking and who are they giving to? We'll get into it.
And who suffered?
Dear family, yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Remember what Sophie Hirsch says, okay? She says that they specialize in taking dates that celebrate genocide. Stop right there, man. Genocide, beloved. Do you know what genocide is? The killing of people, the destruction of communities, and discrimination, and repackaging them as family-friendly holidays. So we got to be wise today and not allow ourselves to be celebrating things that really represent our actual demise. She mentioned indigenous people. That's who we are. And by the way, we are indigenous to North America as well. We were there before Columbus. So don't get it twisted, thinking that, we only arrived on slave ships. That was just a recent happening. But when you understand the Olmecs and those huge edifices built by these original people, these Black people, we've been there since time immemorial. Dear family, she writes, this is Sophie Hirsch, she writes, here's a look into the true history of Thanksgiving and what really went down between the Pilgrims and the Native Americans whose land they stole. We have turned a story of unjust colonization into an excuse to kill 46 million turkeys every Thanksgiving. By the way, for those of you getting ready to tuck into your turkey, I just need you to know that the turkey is directly related to the vulture. Yeah. Did you hear what I said? I said your turkey is a relative of the vulture. The vulture, which is the bird that specializes in roadkill or carrion or, oh man, I remember as a child growing up in Jamaica, seeing in Jamaica, we call them drunkra. Any Jamaicans watching, you can confirm for me in the chat. Yeah, the vulture, we call it drunkra. And you see them circling whenever there's a dead creature or something dead, whatever. They've got these nostrils, man. They can smell good. They got those scrawny necks and the bald head. And it's a bird with a bald head. Bird look ugly to hell, look like sin. Sorry, I'm going into my Jamaican vernacular. But it's a horrible creature, dear family, in terms of what it consumes. And I don't think it's a good bird to eat, but they fatten them up. All these turkeys now, they are bred specifically for slaughter at a particular time of the year. They're pumped with hormones to get them fat. And I mean, when you consume this meat, it goes right into your system, and it actually, the hormones, they don't stop working because the bird is dead. They go right into you and they affect you. There's a reason why so many young girls now have got breasts and hips and other body parts much bigger than their mothers, their parents. The woman who gave birth to them don't stand a chance in terms of their development, because it's hormone induced or hormone fed food that is being consumed. And now the child is ill affected in the same way in which that bird swells up. The child
in menstrual cycles earlier.
They're starting their menstrual cycle at 8 and 9 years old and stuff like that. I mean, it's horrible. Dear family, do we understand how these things work? This isn't some crazy notion. This is real, man. She goes on to say, not only is Thanksgiving offensive to indigenous people, but it glorifies colonization or colonialism, slavery, and even epidemics. Many Americans who celebrate Thanksgiving have no idea just how cruel the holiday's origins are, while those who do may choose to either boycott the holiday or just use it. We're going to go into the boycotts in weeks to come, talk more about that. Boycott the holiday or use it as an excuse to express general gratitude, to gather with the family and eat some comfort food. Be careful of the comfort food, dear family. This is how many of us get fat, because based on the type of stuff that we have to go through in life, oftentimes we take great comfort, especially sugary stuff, sweet stuff, all this fattening stuff, and it's comfort for us. We're comforted when we have that food that we eat, but that's dangerous because it's very addictive. And if you're not exercising, if you're not taking in water, if you're not eating fresh fruits and doing all the right stuff, if it's just this sugary, sweet comfort food, man, it really hurts you in the long run, dear family.
That's right. The way it just creeps up on you, and you think, how did I get so fat? Because it does.
Do you remember that program we used to watch with those women?
Oh yeah.
Who would be convinced that they're not eating. No, it wasn't. I can't remember the name of it, but
it was a diet. No.
Yeah, they were followed by cameras and
to help them lose weight.
To lose weight, but they would convince themselves that they really don't eat much.
No, I don't.
And they would be always shocked when the camera footage of them would be played back, and they would, if anybody knows the program we're talking about, put it in the chat, please. They would be always shocked at how much they actually eat. There was one where the sister was, she had eaten her food, then she was literally dipping into her own child's food, taking her child's food. There was another one where the sisters, they all went to the gym, they were exercising, doing their training, then they came out of the gym and they're still in their gym clothes, but they're eating chocolate profiteroles and all this stuff, just stuffing all this stuff. Then they went to Kentucky or McNasty's, one of those places, picked up some more fast food, and they're just eating all the time. But they convinced themselves that they hardly eat. And then they were wondering, well, why are we, why I put on so much weight? When the the video is played back to them, you can see they're just like shocked, because that's what people do. We literally convince ourselves that we're not doing what we're doing. But
like when they say, I only have a little bit of a drink.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, the alcoholics, yeah. I only drink on the weekends.
Yes. All week.
Yeah. So the article goes on to state the main pilgrim narrative coincides with colonization that was inherently oppressive and brutal, dear family. This is what we need to know about what we are talking about when we're talking about this silly season. I hope you are all good. Imagination promoting and advertising goods and services for the benefit of our community. Please take note of the following and support, brothers and sisters. WYLA for boys and girls age 8 to 16, producing our future leaders. Visit www.wylauk.com. Get your child signed up to one of the academies. There's so many academies now coming up. You've got Manhood Academy, you've got WYLA, you've got Brother Two Badders Academy. I was advertising it before. I must get something from him to be able to let you know about his academy as well. But there are people out there who are trying to impart something to our young people. And, you know, I would encourage you to get your children involved, dear family, because they need their extracurricular. They need that as opposed to what they've been given in these mainstream schools.
Yes, because in WYLA, EY, is it EY?
EYLA, that's in East London. Then you've got LYLA, which is in Lewisham. I mean, there's quite a few of the YLAs coming up now, right. You know, Young Leaders Academies.
They have opportunities what children normally don't
they
get.
The
top places.
Yeah, they get some, you know, you should check out the Young Leaders Academies, because as Sister Claudia said, there are some opportunities that come up where your children, if they have the requisite qualifications, if they're good in their subjects, if they're good at maths and English and all of those core subjects, there are possibilities because of the contacts over the years that people like Brother Andrew and Brother David, Brother Ray, who are the directors of the Young Leaders Academies, because of the contacts that they've accrued over many years of doing this, they literally have been able to fast track some of our young people into some of the top schools in the country, having given them a good basic foundation of knowledge of self, knowledge of God, knowledge of the world, so that even though they're going into these places of higher learning, they're not going in there and losing their minds, losing themselves. They're going in there knowing that they're now going to try to graduate in order to come back now and give back to our community. Yes. So there's lots of opportunities.
Yeah, they're not losing themselves. They have a knowledge of self.
Absolutely.
They're not trying to be white just because they may be going to the top white school. So, you know, it's very important. And didn't they go, they have very good, what's it called, when they go away?
So sometimes there's some residentials that happens throughout the year. I think the last time they went boating, some type of sailing. Yes. You know, there's lots of things, lots of activities that many of our young people, so-called, you know, urban dwelling Black people, don't get a chance. You know, going into the countryside and being able to experience things that
they may not get the chance.
The people who go to the top school get to experience all the time. That's for them. It's not for our children, but we try to create environments and situations where our children can literally get to go into all of those different environments and experience, you know, those things that oftentimes is denied when, you know, we're supposed to be urban dwellers and we stay in this little small
Yes.
community.
Our sister, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Queen Sandra, Isle of Wight sailing they went to, Wyler.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, praise.
You know, and so, dear family, visit www.natureshairproducts.co.uk and try to moisturize in hair and scalp oil, as well as beard oil and other natural hair products. Okay, also check out JJ Sorrel products at Sorrel 2020. I mean, this little company is just
it's brilliant.
Phenomenal. Brilliant. I mean, my wife is very, very particular. Sister Claudia is very, very discerning when it comes to anything that she eats or drinks. But, you know, what did you say about the sorrel?
Oh, no, that was the best sorrel. I know the sister went away and she left some sorrel with us.
Yes.
And I tried to save it until she came back because it was wonderful. And her ginger shots. Oh, that wakes you up.
Yeah, she does these little shots that literally designed to really just give you a boost of energy, but all natural.
Yeah, all natural.
You know,
especially if you don't want to have, I don't try not to have so much sugar.
Yes.
Sister does alternatives.
Really devoid of sugar.
Oh, yes.
But nonetheless, very tasty.
Oh, it's
very powerful ginger.
Yes,
I mean,
lovely.
You know.
Beautiful.
Check out JJ Sorrel products, dear family, at Sorrel 2020. I think that's Instagram, and try it for yourself. Also, visit www.p2bb.uk or londonstudygroup19.org and order your Proud to be Black t-shirts, caps and mugs, and say it like you mean it, P2BB.
Yes, so can I say that the website has got 15% off.
Are you listening, family? Yes. Say it again, Sister Claudia.
15% off all merchandise, and if you put the code K2022 at the checkout. So that's 15% off, and the code is K2022 at the checkout.
Okay, dear family, pick up your Proud to be Black t-shirts, mugs, caps.
That's right.
And that code again,
K2022.
Wonderful. And you can get your 50% discount, dear family. Also, check out the tribe. Visit the tribe at www.tribenation2019.com. Pick up an item to wear. Check out the tribe, dear family. Again, visit www.natureshairproducts.co.uk and try the beard oil, specially formulated hair butters, and so much more from Nature's Hair Products. These products are magnificent for replenishing. Don't forget, I'm a Jamaican, okay? I'm not English. This is not my language. Replenishing the hair, making our hair vital, making our hair, spring to life again, bounce again, shine again, and just really, I mean, man, I should have shown everybody that picture, because I know some of you don't believe that I used to have absolutely magnificent long.
It's because there's no evidence.
No, I'm gonna now that you've said that, I'm gonna put a picture up with some hair. I'm gonna show you what my hair used to be like. Some of you remember back in the day when I used to do the comedy in the early days, and I had that magnificent high top. Come on, man.
Yeah, that high top.
Don't be hating on the hair. Don't forget, brothers and sisters, visit our YouTube channel, The Nation of Islam, London Study Group, new LSG. Like, share, and subscribe, and also hit that donation button. We need your help to take our show onto the next level. Many years ago, dear family, I read both volume 1 and 2 of African People and European Holidays, A Mental Genocide. I'm going to say that again. The title of the book African People and European Holidays, A Mental Genocide by Isa Shakamusa Barashango. And I strongly recommend that every Black person living in this Western world should make these books essential reading because of the detrimental effect these Eurocentric celebrations can produce in our minds. Okay, pick up your African People and European Holidays, A Mental Genocide. You see that word has been used already this evening, but understand that it's not being used in a flippant way. When you destroy the minds of people, you are committing genocide. When you make it impossible for people to think for themselves and to be able to have self-determination, man, that's genocide. And this is what our people have been through and continue to go through to this very day. And so you need to understand how these holidays, so-called, ill affect us as a people, and don't take it for granted that you can get all wrapped up in it, indulge in it, and somehow it's not having that type of detrimental effect on you. Let us be wise today, dear brothers and sisters. And, you know, even some on mainstream American news networks are aware of the fake historical stories trotted out each holiday season for the masses to consume and celebrate. But are they still expecting the system to change and one day for the system to tell the truth? Because I watch these news reports, and of course, there's a lot of truth that comes out, you know, that trickles out because it's time now. We're living in that time period for truth to be revealed. And so even though the enemy has tried very, very hard to keep everything submerged and covered up and obscured and make everything really complicated and difficult and hard to understand, truth will come out, dear family. That which has been buried is going to be on earth today, because that's the time period that we're living in. But having said that, you know, I still wonder sometimes when I hear the way in which the stories are told in these news broadcasts, you know, is it that we understand that it's time now to separate and do something for ourselves, and that we cannot trust this historical enemy, that we need to stop expecting them to do something different or something else and actually start putting the onus on ourselves? Only we can change the reality, dear family. Bob Marley said it like this: emancipate yourself from mental slavery. Nobody's going to come and emancipate us, brothers and sisters. We have to do these things for ourselves. Just check out this news report coming out of SMNBC, I believe it was, recently.
With Thanksgiving right around the corner, I wanted to turn the mic over to Cross Connection favorite and my friend Jassy Ross for this week's essay and his take on the real story of Thanksgiving and some history you probably never read in your school books.
Okay. Natanako Umakumsaka. My name is Jassy Ross. I come from the Amstapi Pagani Nation. The mythology of Thanksgiving closely mirrors the mythology of America. That mythology is the image that white Americans love to see of themselves. White settlers come to a strange land in good faith, bringing something of great value that enriches the people who are already here. The natives also bring something of immense value.
Just stop a minute. But, you know, you hear what you said. The way this story is told, it's like they brought something of tremendous value, great value to the people. And you'll hear some of our own people repeating that lie and that madness when they talk about our enslavement. How, I mean, literally, some people will tell you that they did us a favor. See, because they found us with a bone through our nose, swinging through the trees in a jungle, and they came to civilize us. See, this is the narrative, and this is what they will tell you.
Isn't it? They've turned it around.
Turned it around, dear family. Did you know that the Native Americans were not savages.
Mhm.
They were not savages. This is you see, they turned the whole thing upside down. The savages were those who came from Europe, calling themselves pilgrims.
Right.
Pilgrims, trying to put a connotation on it like, oh, they were righteous people, they were holy people,
Right.
and they came and they saw all of these savages. I just want you to appreciate what this narrator is breaking down to us. He's telling the truth, but you just got to understand that it's even deeper in many instances than what he's saying.
Exchange. That closely mimics the mythology of white America. It is how America wants to see itself. The truth, of course, of Thanksgiving is much different. The truth is Pilgrims did not bring turkey, sweet potato pie, or cranberries to Thanksgiving. They could not. They were broke. They were broken.
Oh, did you hear that?
Mhm.
The Europeans who arrived were broke. They were broken. These were not, do you know that the people who came out of Europe and made it across the Atlantic into the Americas, whether it was those who came with Columbus or those who came after, do you know that the vast majority of them were like the dregs of European society? Do you know that Australia, for instance, was built on them evacuating their prisons, emptying out their prisons of some of the worst characters you could imagine, and sending them into that land to then go and commit genocide on the native people? And it was the same thing with the Americans, the same thing with these Europeans who came primarily out of England. They came from other parts as well, but England was one of the main contributors to the first 13 colonies, starting with that landing in Virginia or Plymouth Rock. And so, you know, it's just important, dear family, because again, we can, if we make a mistake, we can start imagining that these people literally did come with some beautiful gifts for the people and whatever. No, dear family, these were people who were absolutely in trouble. And going back to Thanksgiving, you know, they were literally starving to death. They didn't know what to do on the land. They hadn't got a clue. And the native people literally came to their rescue, fed them, looked after them, made them well again. And then after they recovered and revived from the journey on the ship through the Atlantic, which killed so many of them anyway, and they came with all these diseases and illnesses. And they said that when the ships would anchor off the coast, you would literally see the rats running down the chains, running down the ropes, running onto the coast, creatures that never existed in that form here. When I say here in North America, but they came from Europe and they brought with them plagues and diseases. I mean, man, you know, dear family, I wish we had time. We could spend a long time just talking on this, but let's carry on listening to this narration.
Their hands were out. They were begging. They brought nothing of value, but they got fed. They got schooled. Thanksgiving.
Let me just say this, you know, like this thing about begging as well. It always amazes me, you know, because again, I don't know if you know, but I know there's some African people who have come from the continent. And when they've come to London, when they've come to England and they see white people sitting outside tube stations begging, they're shocked, especially during that people who are coming out of that apartheid era where white people gave the impression in that part of Africa that they were superior to black people, that they were the master race, and that the native people, original people, black people, Africans were inherently inferior. And many Africans coming in, they're shocked to see white people down and out, decrepit, absolutely struggling to make ends meet because of the myth that was fed to them back on the continent. And, you know, I often reflect on that myself because I know I haven't had some kind of easy life in this Western Hemisphere, in this world, in England, coming from Jamaica, the island of Jamaica. But, you know, and I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that I'm somebody who's been, you know, I'm rich or I've got all of this finance and money or whatever. But regardless of my decrepit condition over many, many years. I strive always to carry myself in a particular way where you wouldn't be able to guess what's going on in my life or the problems that I may have. But I always reflect on the fact that here you got these people who have gone all around the world, destroying other people and robbing and stealing and taking other people's resources. And then they got the audacity. They see me and they always come to Black people, by the way. I don't know if it must be the same thing in North America. Again, talk to us in the chat and confirm or deny. But I'm telling you, family, it's like they always make a beeline for the Black person. They're quick to come and beg us. I'm thinking, where are you going with your two long hand asking me when I'm the one who's been disenfranchised? I'm the one who's been robbed. But here you are, stretching out your hands, begging. And by the way, just in case some of you thinking that I'm mocking them, no, I often give them. I will give them. If I've got something, I'll give it. I don't care who they are. I don't care what color they are. I will give them. Okay. But my point is, dear family, it's just so ironic to see these people begging when they like to characterize us.
That's right.
As the beggars. Go ahead, sister.
Don't you find whenever they beg us outside the shops or the train station, they all say, oh, God be with you. Yeah. Always, don't they?
God bless you.
Yeah, God bless you. Yes. Always.
Yes, they get kind of righteous when they're down.
Yes.
And they know who they're appealing to. They know who they're talking to, the people of God. So they've got to come with that for our sympathy, for our love, for our heart, because they know who we are, dear family.
It makes sense. There is much for white Americans to be thankful for. But I'm still trying to figure out what indigenous people received of value. Instead of bringing stuffing and biscuits, those settlers brought genocide and violence. That genocide and violence is still on the menu, as state-sponsored violence against Native and Black Americans is commonplace, and violent private white supremacy is celebrated and subsidized. From Stonechild Chief Stick to Mike Brown to Renee Davis to Breonna Taylor to Eric Gardner, indigenous and Black people are still being murdered by those paid to protect us. From Ahmaud Arbery to Trayvon Martin, white Americans are still killing Native and Black Americans with no fear of reprisal. They brought chattel slavery to Africans and Native people. That still happens through the prison industrial complex that imprisons the descendants of enslaved Africans.
So you can't call it Thanksgiving, dear family, and then literally be killing the people. You can't call it Thanksgiving and then be killing the people who basically gave you everything, and your ingratitude means that you just continue to slaughter us without any justice, without any real recriminations, without us ever being an enemy to you, actually serving you and giving you and helping you and, feeding you and clothing you when you came with your hands begging us. And then what's our reward? As the narrator said, we didn't get nothing of benefit from all of that. What we've gotten in return is genocide. That's what we've gotten. And it continues to this day. It's not like we're talking about historical things of the past. Those names that he just called out, they were just yesterday being shot down for no apparent reason. And then, you get these white guys, they take automatic weapons or pistols or whatever they choose to use, and they go and they shoot down 5 people, 10 people. They killed that one, Ruth, who killed all those Black people in the church after they invited him to come and pray with them. And strange how they're always able to capture these gunmen alive. That's right. And take them to get a burger before they get to the police station. But a Black man with an Afro comb, he's dead, beloved. A Black man with a mobile phone, he's dead. A Black man selling cigarettes outside a shop, he's strangled to death. And we can go on. And a Black man running away He's shot in the back several times and killed.
A black man just being black.
Exactly.
At the end of the day.
I think they've got these terminologies in America, literally driving while black.
That's right.
Walking while black, sleeping while black. You can get killed in North America and also in the so-called United Kingdom. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just going to go to YouTube. And I hope I'm saying your name right. Mulier Bellator says, yes, here in California, I always have a white person that comes to me begging. I tell them this is your world and your white skin privilege. General Livertor says, resist the devil and he will flee. Brother Roy says, I don't think they are allowed in the rich communities, the beggars. Yeah. They send them to the black areas.
To the poor communities, yes. To the black areas. Yeah.
And just the other day in front of the store, a male looked for me and asked me, and I'm a senior and the male was young. I'm working 2 jobs. And he said to me, he retired and does not want to work.
Wow.
I told him to go inside the 7-Eleven, yeah, 7-Eleven or McDonald's, because all of these places are in great need for employees. They are even offering people $17 an hour with a bonus of $500 or more. And Kulwood.
But just 1 second though, but think about that. You know, here's a brother, his senior brother,
yes,
really explaining to this young man that, you know, there's work,
that's right,
but you don't want to work.
No, he doesn't want
and I spoke to one the other day outside Sainsbury's as well. Same thing. I was telling him, listen, you can do better than this. And he's saying, yeah, you know, young little Caucasian boy sitting there begging, you see? And then they want to say that we're the lazy people, right. but understand that no one on this planet has ever worked like black people have worked, right. and worked for 400 years for no pay.
That's right.
From can't see morning to can't see night. Okay, so we've proven our ability to work and that we're the hardest workers. And by the way, neither Asian people, white people, no people could have endured those 400 years of total destruction and brutality and still be alive today. Understand this about black people. We are an invincible people. I just want you to know this, family. Okay? Don't think that these people haven't tried to genocide us out of existence. But I said it before, and I think it was Brother Khalid, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said it. I'm going to say it again. We don't die. We multiply. Just remember that. We don't die. We multiply. You cannot genocide the black family out of existence. We are invincible. I want you to hear me. I don't want any of us listening to this to start thinking, oh, you know, we're finished, we're down. These people, no. We're just pointing out to you the things that you shouldn't really be getting yourself wrapped up in and involved in, because it's actually, these holidays are actually beneath you.
That's right.
Dear family, you just need to understand what they're all about. Go ahead, Sister Claudia.
From Kulwood Designs, I've witnessed homeless people entering mosques in Montreal during Ramadan, knowing that they will get food.
This is in Canada, yes. Montreal? Okay.
Yeah, knowing they will get food and dates and tea.
Yeah, they'll come to us. They'll come to the Muslim mosque. Obviously, the churches do stuff as well. But, you know, and we will be the ones. We will be the ones to care for them, to feed them, to clothe them,
who are
whatever.
The carers in the world?
The carers in the world are black people. You know, a couple of sisters I was just talking to the other day, they work at night looking after these old, decrepit white people who, once they get to a certain age, their children just throw them into these homes.
That's right.
Don't want to know. But again, you go back and you look at African tradition, our parents always stayed with us, man, in the house with us.
That's right.
You see, they looked after us when we were babies. Then when they get old, we look after them. Throwing your parents into some old people's home, dumping them and forgetting about them, and then crying crocodile tears when they finally pass away, and then you can inherit the house or some other artifact that they leave behind. It's disgusting, but this is the reality, dear family, of the world in which we are now living. Let's go back into this.
Americans to be thankful for. But I'm still trying to figure out what indigenous people received of value. Instead of bringing stuffing and biscuits, those settlers brought genocide and violence. That genocide and violence is still on the menu, as state-sponsored violence against Native and Black Americans is commonplace, and violent private white supremacy is celebrated and subsidized. From Stonechild Chief Stick to Mike Brown to Renee Davis to Breonna Taylor to Eric Gardner, indigenous and Black people are still being murdered by those paid to protect us. From Ahmaud Arbery to Trayvon Martin, white Americans are still killing Native and Black Americans with no fear.
Just 1 second there, family. He said that we're being killed by those who are paid to protect us. You see, that again, this is where, in my humble opinion, where we often go wrong. Because, you know, we really do believe that these people are being paid to protect us. You know, it's like the school systems in with the Eurocentric curriculums. They were never designed to educate us. They're just not. I've said it before. You know, when you see Black people do well in that system of education, it's not because of the system of education. It's because of the inherent genius of that individual Black person who is just so phenomenal that despite all of what's designed to actually cripple their mind, they get through, graduate, and go on to do great things. Well, it's the same principle with the police, even though you see, because in North America, I mean, they're doing it here now as well in the UK, but you've got all these Black people in the police. And many of them reach high positions in the police force, in the police service, as they like to call it. They've stopped saying force. They want to say service now. Again, that's another trick. But my point, dear family, is that you've got these Black police and they'll tell you that, look, we're not Black. If anything, we're blue. We're not a color. We're blue, you know, because they're holding that so-called thin blue line. And for many of our people who join these institutions, they're compromised to the point where they've got to prove to the system that they've joined that they're not biased in favor of their own. And oftentimes, I don't know if I think it was in Boys in the Hood, that Black policeman, the way he came hard and vicious towards the Black brothers that he stopped on the street, and you could see the murder in him. Understand this, man. This is how it works. You're thinking, oh, because you see these Black men and women wearing the blue, and I'm not suggesting for 1 second that all of them are like that. You got some beautiful brothers and sisters who joined, they're very conscientious and they really hoping to make a difference. And then some of us who, based on our experience with the police, then we look at them and we're quick to put them down and maybe even try and kill them and destroy them, when in reality, they're not a part of the problem. They just ignorantly think that they can change that system for the better from within. And so the whole thing can get into a real quagmire of confusion and hate and pain, and, you know, because we have to, dear family, create for ourselves our own systems. And I say again, in order to stop the genocide, in order to stop the murder, in order to stop the unlawful killings that go on, we must first, as a people, learn to love, honor, and respect one another, man, and create for ourselves decent places where we live, decent communities, those so-called ghettos and those so-called hoods, just the language that we use to describe where we live. You know, we have to change that narrative, and we can make the places where we live beautiful places, and we can be beautiful people within those places. And that's how we begin to change our own realities, and we can have our own police. We can police our own communities with proper policing. You know, I'll say this to you. A brother, one of the brothers, myself and him, we had to go to the home of a sister who had some issues with mental health, and she has a son in the house, a grown man, this is the elderly sister. Her son lives in the house with her, and this brother, he was just vicious. He very disrespectful to his own mother. He, when myself and the brother entered into the apartment, he was very, very aggressive towards us. He really was looking like he wanted to do some serious damage to myself and the brother. And he was literally playing around with a knife and all kinds of stuff like this. And we told him, you know, in no uncertain terms, brother, just cool, just relax. Don't be stupid. We're here for your mother. We're trying to help our sister, whatever. But he kept on and on, and he was pushing. And eventually we had to physically take hold of this brother. But, you know, we managed to hold this brother and subdue this brother and deal with this brother and stop him from his aggression towards us and towards his own mother. But you know what myself and the brother said to one another afterwards, we were saying, look at that. Look how we were able to handle that brother, even though he was so aggressive, so nasty, wanted to kill us, you know, with a knife, whatever. But we were able to deal with him without killing him, without bloodying him up, without beating him to a pulp, without doing any of that. We was able to show him, listen, brother, and actually get to a point where we say, we're going to let you go and you just go to your room and just chill, okay? But not needing to hurt the brother, strangle him into, you know, see these devils. But you see, I guarantee you, if that was some of them other people who had to deal with that brother that night, that brother wouldn't be here today.
That's right, he'd be dead.
He'd be dead, see? And this is what I'm saying we know how to deal with our people. When our people come savage and crazy, we know how to deal with our people without resorting to killing our people unnecessarily. But these people, they're so terrified of us that the slightest thing, oh, let me pull my Afro comb out and pluck you're dead. This is the reality, dear family. And we can't rely on these people to police us or to expect them to do good by us. We have to do good by ourselves first.
Of reprisal. They brought chattel slavery to Africans and Native people. That still happens through the prison industrial complex that imprisons the descendants of enslaved Africans and Natives at far disparate numbers. That is the reality of Thanksgiving. Many of us are still waiting for white Americans to bring some value, still waiting for white America to match the mythology of Thanksgiving. Freedom, justice, equality, reparations for 2.5.
And you'll be waiting forever. Stop waiting for white people to do the right thing. It is not going to happen. But once we determine to do the right thing by ourselves, man, we change the stuff up overnight. This is the key, dear family. This is the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Sister Claudia, did you?
No.
Okay, let's continue. Dear family, we're not going to go late.
Of stolen native land, reparations for 246 years of stolen labor, reparations for stealing native children. Stop the killing. It's still happening. Stop the theft. It's still happening. Return the land. Match the mythology. Then and only then we can all be equally thankful. Peace.
Yeah, dear family, that's just not going to happen. They will pay reparations. They will do some right by us. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it like this. He said, the white man will do right, but in order to make him do right, you have to have a gun to his head. Now, that's metaphorical. We're not advocating nobody going out now and getting a gun and putting it to a white man's head. It's not talking about that kind of gun. What has to happen is that he must feel a threat of a consequence. You remember when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, what was the 2015? Justice or else. And he got so terrified. He started lying, saying that, oh, Farrakhan said he wants 10,000 black men to go out and kill white people. The minister said no such thing. But what he said was justice or else, because the or else means that there's something coming behind that or else. If you don't do justice, see, right now they have it within their hands still to do justice by us, but understand, dear family, that it's not some empty threat. There is a God involved in this process. We are the people of God. And God today is threatening them. Did you know what you got? Do you know that you got to make these Caucasian people pick a fight with God? Do you know that's why it's important for you and I to be righteous people? A people who are not a people who are corrupt and doing evil and opposite to who we are, and force the devil to pick a fight with God, to fight God, because he's going to lose that battle, man. I'm telling you, and I'm not talking about no spooky God. I'm talking about a real, live, living God, dear family, with power to crush the wicked. Dear family, I hope you are following this. This is just the start of our series on the silly season. Black Friday is a critical day for the retail sector, as the holiday season can account for 20% or more of annual sales for many retailers. They make a lot of money, okay? Other financial holidays have also sprung up around this time, including Small Business Saturday. Listen to what they call Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday, and so-called Giving Tuesday. These are all financial days that they create designed to just get you to spend money, and it's specifically money that you don't have. The name Black Friday originates in reference to the volume of shoppers that created traffic accidents and sometimes even violence the day after so-called Thanksgiving. As one of the more profitable retail days of the year, Black Friday began to take on a positive connotation because, you know, traditionally Black Friday was supposed to be something negative, okay? They blackball, blacklisted, blackmail, and so on and so forth. But having said that, you know, if your business is not doing well or if your accounting is in trouble, it's in the red. But when you are in the black, it means that you are absolutely doing very, very well. They understand the power of black, beloved. It's only us who want to throw away black, thinking that black is something negative. It's not negative. They know that it's something very, very powerful and very, very positive. Retailers now offer deep discounts only available on that day. Go ahead, sis.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Mulier Bellator says, Brother Leo Mohammed, I have a question regarding the other non-white people. Why do you think that white people would give reparations to the Japanese here in California?
Yeah, it's a beautiful question. Why did they give reparations to the Japanese in California, the Japanese who were interned during the Second World War? Dear family, you know, again, Japanese people are not a destroyed people. Japanese people don't come into North America to integrate themselves and just become another American, even though you'll have many Japanese Americans who are quote unquote American. They maintain their Japanese language, their Japanese culture, their Japanese names, you see? And when you have any body of people who are united in that way, they can actually make a demand, and power respects power. The Japanese have a nation, they literally went to war against America. So they demonstrated that they, as a people, you know, they're powerful people. They demonstrated through their making of cars and electronic devices or whatever, that they're highly skilled, industrious people. And, you know, America needs a lot of what Japan has. So when you have a bloc that can lobby the American government, you can force them to recognize the fact that it's actually in your interest to repair the damage that you did over the 4 years of the Second World War. Hence why they are able to achieve reparations. Hence why Jews were able to get the Germans to pay reparations and so on and so forth. Reparations is not some outlandish, crazy thing. The precedent has been set for many people who are united people who approach their demand for reparations as a unified, powerful group. But we don't do the same. We're the only ones who won't do that. Too many disparate voices, too many of us trying to get a fast buck for ourselves rather than coming together as a whole, as a body, as a nation, and making that demand. I'm telling you, man, when you do it like that, you see the enemy will respond because we can hurt them, dear family. Later on in the series, we'll talk about what Martin Luther King said and what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said in 2015 when he said, redistribute the pain. Redistribute the pain. Do you know that if, as Black people, if we boycotted some of these companies, that they're finished? Because we're the ones who purchase all their stuff, man. We're the ones. Look, you know, we are consumers, non-producers. We don't produce stuff for ourselves, but we consume everything. And so they just target us because they know we're going to come running and spend our money with them. Dear family, I hope that goes some way to answering that beautiful question that you posed, dear family. The best Black Friday deals are surprisingly not on Black Friday. Many retailers, including Amazon, offer sales earlier and earlier, upstaging Black Friday itself. The competition has gotten so fierce that stores have innovated new ways to get your money, sometimes starting much earlier in the year. And you see that they're, you know, going back, they're starting earlier and earlier and earlier and extending, you know, a day that then becomes a week and so on and so forth. Look at these.
But that's what I'm saying. Look at that image.
Look at these two poor sisters trying to take a TV and just getting mobbed, just getting bossed up in a crowd for a TV. And I saw one of the first times they depicted Black Friday. Remember that time when they were mashing, the TV got mashed up because there was about 10 people trying to take the one TV. They broke the thing into pieces, dear family. It was so crazy, but that's how they've got us behaving. You know, look how crazy they have people behaving to spend money on things that many of them probably don't even need, but have just been whipped into a frenzy by the hype around Black Friday. Many retailers open late Thanksgiving Day or early Friday morning. Some shoppers wait in line to get the best deals, and shopping continues throughout the weekend. In 2021, for example, shoppers spent an average of $300 from Thanksgiving through Cyber Monday. It's a lot of money that we do spend, a hell of a lot of money on these processes, dear family. Let's have a look at this, just to give you an example. Sister Claudia actually mentioned this to me earlier on. This is what we do on Black Friday. This is Asda in the UK. Come down with the hijab. And that's actually one of the pain videos that I'm showing. I mean, I saw some stuff. It's violent, people get knocked out, stabbed. Crazy. Just calm down.
What's the point?
Yeah, it's to go and spend money that you don't have. Go and spend money, just go and spend. Dear family, the meaning of pilgrim a person who journeys to a sacred place for religious reasons. See the way they put that title on themselves? Pilgrim, to make you think that these are righteous people, a member of the Pilgrim Fathers, they call them. At least 3,000 Native Americans died on the Trail of Tears. This is what these people had to literally get thrown off their own land. They went on a long march just trying to survive. They call it the Trail of Tears, where over 3,000 Native people were slaughtered in the establishment of Europeans coming into the Americas and the destruction of the Native people. Dear family, brothers and sisters, I hope you are all good. In 2022, Americans will spend an estimated 1.1 billion on festive fowls. These are those turkeys, an increase of roughly $151 million from 985 million paid for Thanksgiving turkeys in 2021. Also, it is estimated that 28.1 billion was spent on Black Friday in 2021. Halloween 2022, which has just passed in Britain here, and I'm sure you did it in America as well. British people were expected to spend 28.95 million on pumpkins, just on the pumpkins, man. Some ghoulish, crazy celebration. The Bank of England estimates that a typical UK household spends over £700 more in the month of December compared to other months. Why? The silly season. This is what we do, dear family. And, you know, again, if you look, you'll see it's us. Many of us are really caught up in it. And, you know, we will set ourselves back and come January.
Crying. Crying.
No money, beloved.
Depressed. People are depressed.
No money.
It's the new year. And
no money.
Depressed.
I remember a good friend of mine, he was with his girlfriend they were together for 12 years. They had 2 children. And they decided after 12 years of being a couple together, living together, they decided to get married. And she wanted this massive wedding, and her family was pushing for this massive wedding. Brother wanted just a normal, low-key kind of affair. They've been together for 12 years. Come on, man. You know, just a small thing. No, man, but she insisted, and the family pushed it. And it was a long time ago, but in those days, I think the wedding came up to just under £30,000. This brother was a hard worker. He was a scaffolder. He made good money. And they had this magnificent, grand wedding, nearly 30 grand's worth years ago. This was in the 80s. That was a lot of money, you know, and I think it was within 6 months that relationship was mash up, destroyed. Why? Because it was this big show, but then you're broke, you're in trouble. And then the whole thing just went downhill from there, because you don't need to do this showy stuff, dear family. We really need to stop buying gifts just for the sake of trying to impress. I think they say impress the Joneses, trying to keep up with the Joneses. Dear family, why is Christmas on the 27th day in 2022? Did you know that? Why is Christmas on the 27th day in 2022? Apparently it's because the day itself is on a weekend this year. So we are now entitled to a substitute holiday in its place, normally taking place the following Monday. However, this year, Boxing Day, a bank holiday, falls on Monday, the 26th of December. So Christmas Day is on Sunday, the 25th. Monday, the 26th is the bank holiday. So the Christmas Day bank holiday will be observed on Tuesday, the 27th. Even when I was reading it, I was lost.
I glazed over.
Sister Claudia said she glazed over. I'm just trying to show you, man. It's just so crazy. It's like the other day when the clocks went back. Because again, remember that when it comes to the Caucasian, the power brokers in the world of the Caucasian, as far as they're concerned, they're God. So they can put the clock back,
Right.
they can adjust the time, they can tell you when you can take off work, when you have a holiday,
right.
they can make a new holiday if they so choose. But I just wanted to just let you know that there's going to be an extra holiday this year on the 27th, Tuesday, the 27th of December. Dear family, a newspaper headline from last year screamed, UK faces Christmas booze shortage due to supply chain chaos. Government warned. It's estimated that by the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control in America, it's estimated by the CDC that the US economy loses $249 billion each year, resulting from alcohol consumption, amounting to healthcare loss, $28 billion, workplace productivity loss, $179 billion, road collisions loss, $13 billion, criminal justice loss, $25 billion. I mentioned this because, again, it's important, dear family. Some of us are getting ready for our eggnog. Oh, man, so much alcohol consumption.
Yes, so much.
What has this got to do with Jesus, brothers and sisters? But anyway, we drink so much at Christmas and during the silly season. I'm just trying to show you the kind of money that it costs in loss in terms of productivity, collisions, crashes on the road, criminal justice, etc., etc. Go ahead, sister.
No, but I was going to say it's so much at Christmas, but I remember we had some neighbors and you know, the storage, recycle bins, recycle bin. We thought they had a party.
Oh, yeah.
Because they had so much alcohol, but it was a weekly thing.
But do you remember when we moved into Taplow, the area? No, but you remember, do you remember the Christmas when they came to our door? They came with the alcohol, they came with the bottles, they were happy, oh, Merry Christmas. And, you know, we weren't rude.
No.
But I said, oh, thank you, but no, thank you. We don't celebrate. Their faces, these people, they looked at us like, you don't celebrate Christmas. You're not going to drink with us.
No.
Thank you, but no, thank you. We closed the door. It was ridiculous. They came to our door and they looked already legless. They were really jovial. We just moved into the area. It was all white people and they were drinking, man, and they expected us to join in the fun. We said, no, thank you, it's fine. And that was the Christmas when there was the big tsunami in Indonesia, was it? Yeah, around the Thailand sort of area, and quite a lot of people, quite a lot of them died, and there was somebody from their family, wasn't it, who perished out there as well. God knows what they were doing in Thailand. That's another story. May even get into that one of these days. But dear family, it's just important that you understand the amount of harm that we are doing to ourselves with this alcohol consumption that takes place during this time, this so-called holiday season, this silly season. Go ahead,
and sister. What has the alcohol, if you're celebrating about Jesus, what has that got to do with Jesus? Well,
we're going to go into that. We're going to go into that. So as we rapidly descend into another Christmas silly season, it begs the question, dear family, these are questions for you to contemplate between now and next week. What is it all about? What is the origin? Who really benefits? Okay, because I can assure you, if you're a black man, a black woman, a black family, a black child, you do not benefit from this season, dear family. So who really benefits? Is it Jesus's birthday? If not, whose birthday? Should we participate? Should we boycott? What does the future hold for such holidays? Are we going to be having these holidays in the next 10, 15, 20 years? Well, we will see, dear family. We will see. Inshallah, next week, we will start to try and answer some of these questions based on truth to the best of our ability, with the purpose of dispelling ignorance and encouraging the acquiring of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, especially when it comes to the knowledge of God, the knowledge of self, and the knowledge of our enemies who are pushing these so-called holidays or holy days with hidden agendas from high and low places. Next week on the Image a Nation show, dear beloved brothers and sisters, I hope that we can look forward to seeing you at that time. So that's it, brothers and sisters. I really want to thank you for tuning in this evening and being with us on the Image a Nation show. And as I said, it will be like a little series that we will go through this time period to just look at, what's going on and what it all means, because a lot of our people do things in ignorance. We don't necessarily know the truth of it, but you should know the truth of it because it will save you a lot of money.
Right.
You know what I mean? It will save you your health, and it will possibly help you to maintain and keep your family together and not, fall into this trap that has been set for us, especially when it comes to spending all our money on nonsense. So I thank you, dear brothers and sisters. Sister Claudia, over to yourself. Anything to share before we close out for the evening?
Just to say thank you to our family in Biafra.
Wow.
Flint, Michigan.
Wow.
Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
East London. Mohammed Mosque number 28.
Beautiful.
Philadelphia, California.
Wow.
And thank you to our Zoom family and our YouTube family. Thank you very much for tuning in. We really appreciate your time and your support. It means a lot in this time that we're living in. So thank you all. We pray that you all stay safe, do something good for yourself, but don't spend with the enemy. Yes. Spend amongst ourselves.
That's right.
And build our communities.
That's right. Wonderful. Thank you so much, dear beloved sister Claudia and family. Looking forward to next week and seeing you all again at that time. May the Creator continue to bless, guide, and protect each and every one of you as I greet you as I found you in the greeting words of peace once again. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.